Why is it that we grind at our jobs so hard and play so little? The limited time off that we earn is a valuable resource that we hoard away for the things in life that we like most. PTO is all about the hobbies we do with our time off and what they do for us. Who knows? You might even find a new thing to try with your PTO. Or a sick day. Just don't tell the boss when it's a sick day. Welcome to the Paid Time Outdoors podcast.
Because we figured they would look for the big bird next to the bird feeder, and then we never got caught.
When I play D&D, I'm a drunk blind monk who's knocking chairs over or something at the tavern.
Welcome back to the Paid Time Outdoors podcast. Today's guest is a longtime friend. We met back in the pressure cooker of grad school, where we had plenty of work and zero paid time off. Since then, he's navigated a handful of different careers, taken on the role of husband and father, and learned a thing or two about what it means to truly balance it all. He's a jack of all trades and a master of the dad joke. My friend, Chip, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, Mark. Thanks so much, man. It's great to be here.
Long time no see. Do people still call you Chip?
They do. Yes, absolutely. And honestly, now that I'm a married man, my wife's last name is Mitch, and sometimes people think that's my first name, so I've been called Mitch a few times too.
Chip Mitch.
Yeah.
Around Christmas, is it Merry Chip Mitch?
Yeah. Merry Chip Mitch. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
It's
what
great
do
to
you?
be here, man.
What have you been up to? It's been so long since I've seen you. I want to say maybe since my wedding, so it's been quite some time. What are you doing, man?
Yeah, down in the Cream City, I think is the last time we saw each other in the flesh. Yeah, it's been too long. I've been all over. I think, we hadn't seen each other since COVID, so that was a kind of a crazy time. But yeah, I spent some time in Oregon and back in Wisconsin, like you mentioned, started a family, got another cat. So Smeagol's got a feline brother now.
Is it Boromir?
No. Well, I guess if I would have had to pick between Faramir and Boromir, obviously I would have named him Boromir.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, duh.
One simply picks Boromir.
You're right, yeah. So his name was Tadpole when we got him from the shelter because he has all these spots on his belly and he looked like a tadpole. But I kind of wish that we would have left his name as Tadpole because I think it's kind of cute. But we named him Louis, unofficially King Louis, because he's very regal and royal.
Okay.
Yeah, at least he thinks so.
Cats.
How's Pepper? Is Pepper still around?
She's around, and she's alive and around too. She in March she turns 9. Can you believe it? Yeah.
Has she settled down and all, or is she still crazy?
Yeah. She settled down.
That's good. That's good.
She listens super well. We got another dog about a year ago named Nessie, named after the Loch Ness Monster.
Whoa.
She's a golden retriever, and even though she's a little over a year, she's still a puppy, like 100% goofball puppy.
So is Pepper kind of keeping the cap on things with Nessie?
She wants nothing to do with Nessie. Nessie comes close, and she's like, "Get away from me."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great.
So let's do a little time traveling. Time travel. Okay, so we go back. This is Chip. Chip is a Midwest dude. He's worked, as I talked to him earlier, he said he's worked a whole bunch of jobs. So if you were to think back to a memorable job as a youth, you're coming up and you hit a job and you're like, oh, this was in reflection such a goofy time. What is a job that comes to mind?
Man, I mean, so I probably should have asked you this earlier. I mean, I'm not sure what you're considering a job, but like I started, as I think a lot of people our age did when we were younger, like middle school, pre-high school. And I was cutting lawns, shoveling snow at the neighbors' houses, at aunts and uncles' houses, making $20 here and there on the weekends. So that was really where I got my first job, and I'd take odd jobs too, like when I was eighth grade, freshman in high school, like scraping people's windows and then repainting windows outside, doing pillars, just like weird odd jobs like that.
So, like, when you're at the
So
stoplight and someone sprays your windshield.
yeah. Do you wipe it off with a little rag? I was doing it. Yeah. So I mean, that was like the first job that I had. It wasn't official or anything. I wasn't filing a W-2. When I think back to some memorable jobs that I had when I was young, I think probably like the first official job that I had, I worked at a frozen custard restaurant, which was a ton of fun, man. It was like a job where it was like divided by gender to a T. Like all the guys were in the kitchen flipping burgers and filling drinks and putting fries down, and all the girls were what they called hoppers. So they would traditionally they were on skates, roller skates. But this specific, I don't know if they had like a lawsuit filed against them or something, but they decided that they couldn't do roller skates anymore. But yeah, all the girls would go out and drop off orders, uh, which, I was a little jealous of. I was like, I kind of want to just roller skate around and give burgers to people. It's more fun than getting your hands burned with oil.
Eh,
But
but at least I'm sure when they took the skates away, they had to pretend they were skating, and you're like, "Look at
yeah,
those they have look at."
yeah. People are like, what's going on here? Lots of moonwalks. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that I think that was a memorable job for me. I think if for nothing else, because I got the nickname Pork Chop, because I went to a private school and we couldn't have facial hair, and I'm a pretty hairy guy, and because I couldn't have facial hair at high school, I had these big sideburns because you could only have hair down to the bottom of your ear. So I just had big sideburns in high school, and people called me Pork Chop. So I think because of the sideburns, I don't know. Yeah. It was a fun time. If we messed up orders, we got to take them home and eat them on break, which was nice for a high school student.
Yeah. I worked in the food service in, high school is I almost said middle school. No. I worked, the food industry a little bit in high school and into college. I was a nighttime manager at a sandwich shop.
Were you a
And
sandwich artist, or
uh,
did you
no,
graduate
I was
as
the
that?
ringleader of the, sandwich monkeys. Um, yeah, where we were slinging sandwiches left and right, and, like, oftentimes my lunch was sandwiches from the place that I worked. My mom gave us lunch money, like 20 bucks a week, but
Yeah,
if I brought food from work, I had 20 bucks in my pocket for gas or my phone bill or whatever I had to pay for, so.
nice. Okay, let me ask you this. If you worked at a sandwich shop, you've probably tried a lot of pretty good sandwiches. Do you feel like you have a favorite?
For me, food is mood.
Interesting. Okay.
So, I have a tough time picking, like, a favorite restaurant or a favorite style of food. Like,
Yeah,
if you ask me what I like more, Mexican food or Chinese food, you'll get a different answer half the time.
that makes sense. Yeah.
So, depending on my mood, like, today, I would have been a roast beef turkey guy.
Okay.
I'd have been
Are you
having a
are you like a loaded Sammy, or are you just like meats and cheese and bread?
meats, cheese, bread. That's pretty much it. Sometimes pickles, mustard.
Have you been to Jersey Mike's? Do you get it Mike's way or not Mike's way?
I went to Jersey Mike's a long time ago, and they were a competitor to the company
Oh,
that I worked for. So I
okay.
was, like, undercover, have the sunglasses on with the nose and the mustache going in there, and
Yeah, don't let the boss know I'm here. I
yeah,
got
so
you.
it's been a long time, but I remember
Yeah.
they had pretty good sandwiches. I was a big fan of Potbellies. You ever had Potbellies?
Yeah. Yes, once. Very good.
Yeah, they really
Yeah.
did it up well.
I mean, I know, like, I don't want to get too tangential here, but last time I was at Jersey Mike's, there's this guy. I love going into like food places that are, like quick order, quick out. I feel like I meet some interesting people at those places. But the last time I went in, there was a guy like his favorite food in the world must be onions, because he's sitting there at the window and he's like, "Can you give me a lot of onions? Like, just pretend like the onions are meat." And when he said that, I look over and he's like just standing at the window going, "More onions." He just kept going, "More onions." And I kid you not, by the end, he had like a stack of onions this tall. And I was like, man, this must be Shrek undercover here or something.
He has layers. Like, I'll also take 1 mint. You
It
imagine
was great, man.
you go to your office and somebody's eating that next to you. You're like, "Really, dude?"
Yeah. I think the smell would probably ruminate for a while. I'll never
Alright,
forget.
so we digress about onions. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
oh, you
So I'd
worked
say
through it?
probably the food service job was memorable for sure, like in my first jobs. But I think the one that I probably have the most vivid memories from was when I threw garbage when I worked for a municipality. That was a memorable job.
Yeah. Did you ever
Yeah.
take time off when you were working that position or that job?
No, no, that was a seasonal job. So we didn't get paid time off. And it was, the nice thing about that job is we had to be in for like 6 a.m., but then we were done at like 2. So I had a ton of the day left over. So, I was in high school, so I'd go into work, I'd meet up with my buddies, at like 3 p.m. and we'd have basically the whole evening, which was pretty nice. So
Mhm.
yeah, no PTO for that job. That was high school. I didn't really get into jobs with PTO until after college, but
Yeah.
yeah. So and I
Okay.
was going to say this at the beginning, Mark, when I told you this was a fun exercise for me to do. If you count that yard work and stuff,
It counts.
22 jobs I've worked since 17 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess, 21 if you don't count that since I was 17. 16.
Okay, so you just mentioned 22 jobs leading to your career. We'll get into your career in a minute. But, why do you think there were so many different jobs? Do you think you were searching for the one? Do you think you wanted to get your hands dirty in many places? Why do you think that you went through 22 to get to the right place?
Yeah, man, Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs. He's just my hero. I saw that show and I was like, I gotta be like Mike Rowe. I gotta work as many jobs as possible. No, I'm kidding. I think honestly, I really do think it's probably a mixture of two things. I've got really bad ADD, so I'm like always hopping all over the place. And I think that contributed to the second reason of not really knowing exactly what I wanted to do. And I just find joy in so many different things that I really have loved all of the jobs that I've worked, except for honestly, maybe 2, which, if we want to talk about that later, we can. But for the most part, I really have enjoyed all of these jobs. And I won't tease it too much, but the career I'm in now, I think kind of reflects to that in the way that my job responsibilities kind of fall into place on a daily basis. Yeah, I just think that I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do, and I wanted to try a bunch of different things to see if something, kind of felt right, and just see where I could see myself working for a long time. Clearly, it took me a while to get there, but
And things
I'm
fall into place in a strange way. I don't know how best to describe it, but, I'm still making sandwiches to this day. Just saying.
yeah,
Um,
man. Hey, we all are.
but
Yeah,
really, like, all of the things in your life leading to your career kinda help set you up for it, at least in most cases, I think. But, I mean, the skills that I gained in a bunch of my jobs leading to my career now, helped me in the strangest ways. They pop up weird ways and, I work in conservation and I work with kids quite often, and kids have very curious, very interesting questions. Well, I'm the guy who knows the answers to most of those strange questions somehow.
totally. Yeah, and hey, I've picked up on this in my time knowing you too. I think that you get along incredibly well with so many different types of people. And, I think when you work in different jobs and you work in a field where you're interacting with so many people, I feel like learning how to interact with certain demographics is just something that kind of builds naturally the more you interact with different types, understand different people's backgrounds. And, I think it's probably something that we have in common with the career that we're in right now. I just feel like we interact with people from so many different ages and backgrounds that I think it keeps things exciting. But yeah, still making sandwiches. I unlike you, I can't eat frozen custard anymore. I'm severely lactose intolerant, which
That happened to me too.
really? No way.
Lactose intolerance. Mayonnaise don't happen on sandwiches anymore. Custard doesn't happen. Just not the same. Yikes.
Did it happen when you left Wisconsin?
I think I was about 30 or so,
Okay. Okay.
somewhere in there, and all of a sudden my body just reacted to things different. I mean, even drinking beers. Like, I'll have a couple of, like, 2 or 3 fancy beers, and then I'm knocked out, like, feel like a bag of crap in the morning.
Yep. Yep. I hear you. Honestly, one of the last times that I drank more than like one or two beers was the last time you and I were at a conference together up in the Northwoods. You remember that? Yeah, I think that was the moment where I realized my body is not built for this anymore.
Alright, so we're advancing through, some of Chip's jobs, leading to when we were in grad school together. We went to a conference, uh, in the Northwoods with a lot of environmental educators like ourselves. Um, and as grad students, we didn't have time off. The time we had off, we were, thinking about our thesis, or we were preparing for the more work that we had because our grad program that we went through was very, very involved and very intense. So we were like pounding coffees. So when we had a conference, it was kind of our paid time off. It was our opportunity to let loose a little bit. It was the social night. We had gone through all the professional development portions. We were sitting through sessions. We were learning new skills, meeting new people in our field. And then they have like a band come and there's raffles and everyone kind of lets loose a little bit. So naturally,
And free beer, which
and free beer.
yeah, just tapped.
Naturally, Chip and I indulged and we decided to explore. So we're exploring the facility, taking silly pictures. We found like a scarecrow man in a room. So, I think in the same room there was like a printer, and we took a picture of you pretending to take it. And we're like, "Here, in it, take a picture." And then there was this infamous chicken from Looney Tunes, Foghorn
That's
Leghorn.
what it was. The chicken. Yes, 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 yes. Not Briar.
And
Yeah.
this environmental education group had this foghorn leghorn that they passed around for years. Whoever won the big card game at the end of the day, like, won this thing. So Chip and I stole it. We took it we took it back to our room and took pictures of it on the toilet, and, like, we put
Yeah.
it in all these funny predicaments and took some pictures, and then nobody realized it was gone for a while, and then eventually when they did, we had, like, belly crawl snuck out onto this porch, and we put this giant, I mean, this thing was, like, 5 feet tall, put
That
this
was me.
giant foghorn leghorn chicken next to the bird feeders because we figured they would look for the big bird next to the bird feeder, and then we never got caught.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm not sure how that happened. There were so many people there. It must have been a good band. People must have just been riveted by the music that was going on inside.
That was it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how we would have some time off then, even if it was a day or 2 days to recreate. We would have to seize every moment that we had to do goofy things.
Yeah. And I think in addition to, like you said, the time off where I feel like we could just totally disconnect and not really be thinking about either thesis or coursework or work. I feel like it was so few and far between that time was so valuable. And I just really have uh, a, a gratitude to you for taking me hunting a few times, because I didn't grow up hunting. A lot of my extended family hunted, but nobody in my immediate family hunted. So I didn't grow up having anybody to go hunting with. And so you showing me, like your hunting spots around where we worked and, like just being out there and being able to disconnect from work. That was awesome. Unfortunately, we didn't get anything, but that's okay. I think it was more about just like being out there and disconnecting and just enjoying being outside. I think was awesome, and I'll never forget that. Like that was such a cool experience for me.
Well,
So,
awesome.
yeah, I don't think I've ever said this, but like I just have a
Keep
lot of
going.
gratitude for that.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed spending some time in the woods with you as well. Um, the space that we lived, I mean, it was like a very hunted area. So there's a lot of hunting pressure.
Hmm.
And then with the moments that we had off, sometimes it was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go hunt red squirrels after work." Sometimes it was like, "We're gonna try to archery hunt." Whatever the season was and the time we had for it, I mean, even fishing. I mean, there's a
Hmm.
lake behind the facility we were at, and that was super valuable.
Yeah. Totally. Totally, man.
So, fast forward ahead from that, you're working a job now. What kind of job are you working now?
So I work at it's kind of like a nature center. It's an environmental facility, like education facility, and I'm the program manager. So I'm responsible for basically coordinating any type of educational programming that's happening at the facility. So we host visiting field trips for school groups. Um, we advertise for kindergarten all the way through high school, but primarily our strongest demographic age group is like that third through sixth grade primarily. We serve about 3,000 kids per year. And then we also have summer camps, both day camps, residential camps, contract groups that kind of just come in and we do programming for them, but they bring their own staff and they're kind of like the caretakers. Um, so yeah, and then, we'll have community programs every once in a while too. And we still do the occasional outreach program. But primarily it's just the school trips and summer camp and stuff. So anything that has to do with programming that's being staffed that we offer, I coordinate that stuff. So it's a good, it's a good gig that keeps me busy, and it's unique, and I get a lot of opportunities to meet people and have an impact on youth and adults alike. So yeah, I'm grateful to have the job.
Chip has a lot of responsibilities. Whether one moment there's an educator that's sick and he's leading a group of 30 kids into the woods that he was not prepared for originally. He can think on his feet. He's, rock star. Um, and then even during summer camp, the summer camps are like 6 days a week. So I'm sure it's a lot in their overnight camps, to be responsible, to be on hand whenever everybody is needed. And on top of that, you're a dad, you're a husband, you are a cat dad twice.
Yeah, I mean it's busy, and like I said, I think the exciting part is also the challenging part, where it's so variable and it looks different depending on the time of year. Like right now in this moment today, we're preparing for summer camp. So we're doing all of our hiring, we're creating our schedules for the camp. Um, we have a lot of like specific state youth protection policies that were just implemented recently by the state. So we're, having to make some adjustments with certain policies. Um, there's also like some Title II updates for accessibility that I'm in charge of making sure we're compliant with. Um, and then I'm also like leading an undergrad course, so teaching a course for a university on top of the field trips in conjunction with the field trips. So yeah, it's busy. It's busy, man. And I'm somebody who like I love taking time off, but I also a lot of times feel guilty taking time off. And I think a lot of us share that sentiment because, like when you're raised to work hard and you're raised to like achieve a certain level of you know, work productivity, taking time off means that you're being pulled away from that. So, yeah, I'm just really grateful that I have a pretty strong team right now. I miss working with you, man. I like
That was
work is
fun.
best when you have people around you that you can jive well with. And I think that, we had some great times working together. And I
And
think that, what's that?
like, I can relate to your comment about, like, taking time off and the guilt. I went to Mexico in May. My buddy was getting married, destination wedding, and in the position I'm in now, I have paid time off, and I used it. So we get to Mexico, we get off the plane, we make it to the beach, and Katie, my wife, is already, like, laying there relaxing, and I'm just, like, standing there, like, "What's next? What do we do next?" And she's like, "Just, like, chill out, dude." It took me 2 days before I finally, like, actually enjoyed the PTO, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Um,
like an acclimation period where you got to like transition out of work. And then I don't know what it's like for you, but I feel like when I've taken off for an extended period of time, there's also like a ramp up period where there's 1 or 2 days before work where you start to think like, okay, when I get back, I'm gonna have to do this and I'm doing these things.
mhm.
So really,
Yeah.
like you take a week off, it's like 3 days of just relaxation.
I remember you and I would do some goofing
Oh yeah.
when we were working together. It was like summer camps, and there were some silly kids doing silly things, and, I mean, all you can do at times is laugh because these kids have ridiculous stories. Um,
Oh
One of
yeah.
my most memorable stories was with a student who we were playing a big game throughout this whole place. And the game is called Sardines, where everybody from a cabin hides in a place, and then once you find them, you join them. And I had one kid in my group who had to go use the bathroom, and I'm like, "Buddy, we're hiding." Like, and he's like, "But I really have to go." And so you're not gonna tell a kid, "No, you're not allowed to go to the bathroom," right? So I'm like, "You remember where we are. The bathroom's that building right there. I can see it. Go ahead. Just be really sneaky like a ninja." So he thinks he's being sneaky over to the bathroom. He's I see him go around the backside of it. He didn't use it. He was just looking around. He comes back and we have the game, and eventually we lost. Somebody found us or whatever. And then, in the next transition, we were going to go to the waterfront. So we were gonna go swimming in a lake, and everybody was getting dressed, in their quarters, putting on their swimsuits. We had, like, a kids would put up, like, their towel is a curtain so no one can see them changing, and we
Yep.
get in there, and the kids are changing, and all of a sudden, this kid starts going, "I'm going! I'm peeing! I'm going!" And in a cabin of 8 kids, this kid just starts going. He's peeing on the
Oh
floor, and, it's like, what do you do in this moment? We get the other kids out of there, we get them changed, and then, call up the cleanup crew, "Hey, we're going to waterfront. There's a code 1 in cabin B," and luckily, we were helped. Someone came and cleaned up the mess.
my gosh. Wow. Yeah. What do you do in that situation? How did the other campers that were with you all handle it okay?
They did. They were young enough where it was kind of, like, silly in the moment, and they forgot about it.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. My gosh. Yeah. I feel like the camp world is just so full of wild stories because you're with all these people for a week and it like you camper wise, and then you're with your coworkers like
Mhm.
11 or 12 weeks straight and you're with them around the clock. So I just feel like, when people get tired, you start to get a little loopy and crazy, and you get to know people really well, right? Like they show you a side of themselves that they probably don't show anywhere else, like campfires and meals when you're inside and being crazy. I feel like there's so many fun things. One of my favorite memories from summer camp is when I was sitting in the trading post And we'd go to the radio and we'd radio like, "Hey, Spruce Cabin or whatever, Cabin B or Cabin whatever,
Mhm.
come on over and head up to the trading post." And there was this one camper who's like, he's just pretty wild, the whole week, but in a good way, like not a mischievous
Mhm.
way. It's just kind of weird and in a fun, hilarious way. But he came into the trading post, like day after day, and each day we had like these little wooden snakes, that would kind of like slither around. And the first 2 days, I guess it wasn't day after day, it was 2 days, he got one of the wooden snakes. On the third day, he came in and he had a bandana over his face. And he came in with finger guns and he goes, "I'm here for your snakes."
There's a snake in my boots.
Yeah, man. I'll never forget the snake bandit. I laughed so hard. This is yeah, I don't know,
I
man. That
love
was
that.
great. It's so fun.
All right. So you're working lots of hours. You're a busy dude. Um, although your work is rewarding, it's important we take some time off. Now, family, of course, is always number one. So thinking of your wife, thinking of your child, thinking of your cats, right? Uh, so of course you want their needs to be met and you want to spend time with them. And it's very important that you do those things. So if you're listening, Chip's spouse or child or cat kids,
My
they're
cats love
important.
your podcast. They told me. Yeah. Podcasts.
You're the most important, of course. But for this question, I want you to think about yourself selfishly a little bit, um, about how you refresh the best, how you spend your time off to recover. So there's a weekend coming up. If you take Friday off, you get a 4-day weekend. It's that
Mhm.
perfect time of year to do the thing that Chip loves the most. It's the thing that helps Chip recover and recoup. What's the thing?
Man, okay. You know how you said that you're a food mood guy or mood food? How did you say that? What's your phrase?
Uh, Mood is food, or
Yeah,
food is mood.
food
Either
is
way.
mood. I kind of feel that way about um, like when I'm taking time off. But I would say, so if you're asking me what I do with my time off that makes me feel rejuvenated, I'd say there's two things. A good long weekend of camping, just like tent camping always feels great. But I'm like extremely extroverted, and spending time with people that I care about is incredibly rejuvenating to me as well. And I think like recently, since I've kind of settled down, almost all of my PTO has been spent going and visiting family and friends. And when I go to visit family and friends, there are certain things that we like to do that bring me joy. Um, my close circle loves like playing recreation sports, like spike ball, football, volleyball, those kinds of things. So we stay pretty active in the warmer months. Um, Being on the water, canoeing and kayaking, like we're always trying to do those things when we can, or just swimming. But also, I'm really just like trying to develop a core group of friends who are nerdy because I love playing D&D and rolling dice and playing board
Yeah.
games. Because like I just get lost in that world. Yeah, I could play board games for 6 hours and it'll feel like an hour.
Man,
Um,
so Katie, I don't know if you knew this about my wife, Katie. Hardcore D&D girl.
I did know this, and I actually had a question. Like I didn't really think of any questions, but one question that I did have for you was about this. So maybe you'll tell me, and if you don't, I'll ask you. But yeah, please tell me more. I'm curious.
She, if I rewind a little bit, her father is really into games. He works in the video game industry. And their family, my family, I should say, on her side, really, really strive playing games, enjoy playing games together. It's a way that everybody bonds. Hey, let's get the board game out, get the cards out. And that is like a major part of them. And so, Katie's dad was playing D&D up in Wisconsin when it was invented, really.
Yeah.
And he's been to Lake Geneva, where it was like
Oh,
invented.
Gary Gygax. Yeah.
Mhm.
Stomping grounds. Nice.
And so they're really into games. So, her dad is a really big role model in her life. And so, of course, when you find somebody that you love and respect so much, you want to copy the things that they do. Well, D&D is one thing that he does, and so she tried it and she loves it. I myself don't play. I've tried playing a couple times, but usually it's like, get out of town, like get out of here. But she loves to play. She has a group that she played with, although they're on a hiatus now. She might be looking for somebody to play with. Just throwing that out there, Chip.
Hey, all right.
Um,
Good to know.
but the group that she plays with, they're in California. They're in different states, and then on Sunday mornings they call at like 6 in the morning, and then they play for 3 or 4 hours weekly. Is how it's been for a while. So with her reading lots of books, doing puzzles, those things really help for her to recover and rest while she's mentally active. And so D&D is her jam.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just feel like it's such a creative outlet for people who like who need that outlet, and that
Yeah.
community. I just feel like it's such a fun way to have regular interactions with people that you share something in common with. And I love technology and the fact that like you said, Katie can connect with people in different time zones and play this game and bring everybody together. So at one point, I was playing with my brother, my longtime college roommate, and two of his military buddies who are in different places in the world. So I was in Wisconsin. My longtime roommate was in Iowa. My brother was in Hawaii. And then one of his military buddies was in California and the other was in Japan. So we were literally like around the world. And everybody was on a different time zone, but we were making it work because everybody was like, let's roll some dice, dude. Let's get
So Marines, thanks for your service, boys.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, so it's fun, man. So I think that I may have misunderstood. I was under the assumption that your father-in-law, like, did some. So you said he works in the video game industry? I thought that he had maybe written some stuff for D&D. Is that true or is that not true?
He has. So
That's great.
two things can be true at once, Chip. So
It's not yes or no?
yeah, those are both true. So he worked at a couple of different places as he was coming up.
Yeah.
He had worked with a close friend on writing some D&D literature. They got it published and everything.
That's so
And
cool.
now he works in the gaming industry for the company that he works for, and he kicks butt. Now, the strange part is I don't play video games. I don't play D&D. We get along the best. Uh, her dad, her obviously, like the family, we get along great. But that's just not my thing. Like if they know to invite me to play, if they're like, we need an even number of people, who gets marked? Just
Yeah.
kidding. They're a lot nicer about it. But usually it's like, hey, do you guys have to have an even number? Okay, I'll play.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I just love it. Right now I'm in a group with my three brother-in-laws and my father-in-law, and it's just an awesome way to just stay in touch with my family members because two of them are in Chicago, one's in Minneapolis, another one's in Wisconsin. So we get to see each other every week without being in person. So it's great, man. I've been playing since and like I know the purpose of this podcast is to talk about like jobs and what we do with their time away from work and how like our job history has impacted who we are now. But there are two things that I know for a fact. And one is that spending time at my uncle's cabin in Northwoods, Wisconsin impacted like my personal and professional life and influenced my career. And number two, playing D&D since I was like 7 years old at that same cottage kind of just like I think impacts my personality and like has shaped my personality and who I am, because it's something I've been doing for a long time.
So, so the game Dungeons and Dragons, for those who don't know what that is, right? Maybe somebody has heard of it. Maybe they've seen a couple of the films that have come out about it. Uh, it's a game. Do you describe what it is?
Totally. Yeah, I mean it's a role-playing game where one person in your party being whatever group of people you've brought together to be your party, your group of players. One person is like the game manager or the dungeon master, or two different ways of saying this is the person who is facilitating the game. The rest of the party are the players, like the player characters, and each of those players typically takes on the identity of one person, and then they stay that person or that thing for the duration of the game. And sessions, like if people listening don't know D&D, I think right now the longest running D&D session is like 22 years or something crazy. Typically, like the session that I just got out of a couple months ago, we were playing that, or sorry, not the session, that campaign, excuse me. That campaign was running for like a year and a half, and I've done like 2-year campaigns. I've done one shots where you just play one game, but essentially each person takes on like the role of one player. You can choose races. So depending on what edition of the game you're playing, there's like 1 through, I think they just came out with 5.5 or 6. I don't know what they're calling it. I haven't played it yet. But there are different races that you can pick, like a dwarf, elf, human, kobold, which is like a lizard person, Kenku, which is like a, say that like bird and cat people and all these crazy things. But you pick a race and a class, and you can be like a fighter, druid, rogue, wizard, mage, artificer, all this kind of stuff. And basically, this group of people takes on this identity that they assume in this game. So you step outside of yourself as this player, and you take on the identity of somebody else. So it's kind of like acting in a way, or performing. It's a very performative game where you're improvising and you're like studying rules so that you know the mechanics of the game, so you can know how to interact in certain situations. But yeah, you're making your way through typically a made-up world where there's made-up characters, and it's fun because you can just like, I go to work and I'm my professional self, and then I come home and I'm my parent and my husband self, and then when I play D&D, I'm a drunk blind monk who's knocking chairs over or something at the tavern. You can be whoever you want. So I just think it's so fun to step outside of your real world and step into a fantasy world. So it's just a lot of fun. And yeah, it's totally dependent on the group that you play with, and I don't know. It's a great game. It's a dice-based game. I should have mentioned that too. So like throughout the game, you'll have to make checks. So if you want to like clobber somebody with a big club, you can't just do it. You have to roll a die. It's called a D20. So there are 20 sides of this dice, kind of like a D6, where there's 6 sides. Your typical bar dice. That's one of the dice. So you roll that, and if you meet a certain number, then you get to do that thing. If you don't meet that die, then it's the job of the game master to describe what happens when you don't do that thing, or why you don't do that thing. So you let the dice kind of drive the storyline in cahoots with the storytelling. So
And
essentially, it's
not
just a storytelling game.
and not to cut you off, Chip, but to me, that's really unique, because in life we make choices, and without thinking about it, we kind of calculate probability, and we calculate with our advantages, and we kind of calculate, is this really a smart thing to do? So if Chip and I, if I was to get in a fight with Chip, I might not want to fight him. He looks like he has some ninja skills, you know. So maybe I could observe, uh-oh, I saw him with a gi on and with a karate belt. Maybe my perception is that I don't wanna fight that guy. So then, I would roll based on my perception of Chip and kinda decide like, "Wait a second, saw him with a karate gi on, I don't wanna fight him." And that's kinda what the die do in the game, is they kind of help you weigh, like, "Wait a second, do you really wanna do that?" Because and then
Yeah.
the game
Yeah.
master or um, the leader kinda sets you straight and figures things out for you.
Totally. Yeah. And I know, Mark, I know you and a lot of your other guests and probably a lot of people listening are like really into outdoorsy things. And I think to build on what you just said, like, if you're out hunting or you're fishing and you're not getting a bite or you're not seeing any game and you're sitting there, you're kind of getting tired. There's this roll called a Constitution saving throw. And it's like, man, do I have enough constitution to stay awake and stay focused right now? Or am I going to fall asleep? Or if I get a hit on my line, am I going to be able to set the hook? Or am I going to be too sleepy to react in time? So like, I find myself doing this all the time. I'm really glad you brought this up. I find myself framing my real world from the perspective of D&D a lot. It's like I'm going into a big game. So like I play rec sports in my some of my evenings, like volleyball and ultimate frisbee. And sometimes like if I have a big game, I still get a little nervous before games. And I'll be like, all right, what do I got to do to give myself advantage? Like, so advantage is when you roll the dice twice and you take the higher of the two numbers. And it's like, it's just fun to find real world applications of this very fictional game.
I imagine you see kids that, like, trip on stumps or roots, and you're like, "Nice agility check, that was a 2."
Nat one.
So, players have different advantages as well. So, when you select a player, you have certain stats. Right?
Mhm.
And the stats kinda tell you, "Oh, this is a very agile person," or, "This is a very, like, cognitively tough person." Kinda like when you're playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater and there's, like, manual and all those like, balance, ollie, all those skills. Well,
Yeah.
they all kind of are different levels depending on the type of player that you pick. And so having like a diverse group of players in your group is a really good advantage to have. Kind of like in life, you want to have friends and you want to have family who have different skills than you to help you be successful. What kind of player are you right now? And what kind of advantages do your player have, Chip?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I'm actually, I've been playing with my in-laws for, let's see, it's just now 2026. I've been playing with my in-laws for like 7 years. So we've had a number of campaigns in that time. And this is the first time that I've been dungeon master. So I'm actually like playing all the non-player characters. So I take on all the identities of everyone in the story except for the 4 people that I'm playing with, which I really love. I've done it a handful of times and it's a challenge. The hard part is finding time to come up with the story, and build out the world and come up with those details. But, I've got a map right here of my world framed in my office that I can refer to when we're playing if I need to just take a quick peek at the world we've built. But my I would say, so since I don't have a character that I'm playing right now, I'll talk about one of my favorite characters that I've played. His name was Sungam. He was a ASMR.
ASMR.
No, what was he? Oh my gosh, this was like 3 years ago. I'm trying to remember. He wasn't an ASMR. My most recent character was an ASMR. Actually, I'll tell you about her. She's fun. So I grew up in a Catholic family and I went to Catholic schools all throughout my life up through graduating undergrad. I don't consider myself a practicing Catholic anymore. I haven't for a while, but there are still things that like growing up in a Catholic family that I really like kind of find funny about it. And I'm sorry if that's irreverent to anybody listening, but this one character that I just got done playing, her name was Monstrance Tabernacle, which are 2 like holy symbols in the Catholic Church. And she was a ASMR paladin, and she was just kind of like, she went to school for a long time, and she was like really good in school, and she like trained really hard, and she was like really strong, and like, have you watched Game of Thrones?
A little bit.
Do you know the character Brienne of Tarth?
No.
No? Okay. So if
Sorry.
anybody listening knows Brienne, just kind of picture Brienne. She's like this big, strong, muscular, like really fit, really athletic, good fighter. But she was just kind of like naive to a lot of things and yeah. So she was like the bruiser. She was just like headstrong and uh just constantly getting herself into trouble.
Is she the one with like blonde hair that rides horses?
Yeah, short blonde hair, really tall. Yeah. Yep. Yep, that's her.
Somehow in the memory it kicked out there. I don't know how that one stuck around.
Yeah, yeah, man. Actually, you know what? Let me show you. I've got some artwork here that my cousin put together. So this is Sungum. This is one of our parties.
That's awesome.
That's Sungum over there. He had like so he is like hyper magical and just super strong in a magical sense. And he had like blue lightning kind of like etched into his neck and arms and stuff, but that was a fun character. He just walked around barefoot everywhere and was really stoic and he didn't talk. He communicated telepathically, which was pretty fun. So
Does the dungeon master decide what everybody looks like, or is that something that you have the creativity of?
no, that's something that the players have full autonomy over. Yeah, they decide all of that stuff. Unless they do something really stupid and I'm like, all right, this happens to you and changes your opinion. So I'm gonna show you this picture again. This character right here was my brother-in-law. He did something really stupid and he died. So the dungeon master decided to bring him back, which is why he has this halo here, and he came back as a reincarnated version of his former self.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now you went from a player to a dungeon master. Are you what's that like? And do you miss being one of the players now that you're dungeon master, or do you enjoy the dungeon master role?
Yeah, I mean it's a big change. You know, you're significantly involved in every, well, not every interaction, but most interactions. And there's a lot more responsibility, I would say, just because you have to, like I said, you have to prepare before each session and you have to know what's happening in the large scale. And this is kind of like I really do feel like it's like a supervisory role in the workplace where you're kind of like managing the flow of the game and you're having to like um, be prepared. You're having to think ahead. You're always having to be more prepared than the players, or in this case, if you're a supervisor, more than the people that you're supervising, so you can, guide these players through this story and make it enjoyable for them. And I think that the biggest challenge of being a dungeon master is making sure that the game is enjoyable for the players. Um, at least that's the way that I feel because I've had such great experiences playing. So I
Are
do
you
miss being a character because, like just fun, like really investing in one person and taking on that identity. But I think they're both really great. They're both fun.
do you feel like you have to be biased for, like, your father-in-law and, like, just, like, let him through here and there? Or are
Oh
you
man,
you
he
pretty
probably
fair?
doesn't like me anymore because I actually do the opposite.
You're like, "Huh, that's interesting. You, like, twisted your ankle when you're just walking."
Yeah. Oh, you want to open that door? Sorry, the door is really heavy and the hinges are rusty and it falls on you. My bad. No, I have so much appreciation for my father-in-law because he's somebody who, if he wasn't playing D&D, would go to bed at like 8:30,
What's
and
wrong with
who
that?
does go to bed at 8:30, and like he stays up with us every Tuesday. He's doing it. He's invested and I greatly appreciate it. So it's really fun talking about topics that I wouldn't talk to my father-in-law about in real life, but because we're both playing different characters, like we're making crude jokes. That's been fun, and it's cool to have that mutual understanding with him and my brother-in-laws.
In games that I've played with my in-laws because 'cause they're big gamers, and I include, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, they're all big gamers. They have this very special ability that I envy, where we could be playing a game and their player is at another player's throat, like, "You are dead. I killed you. You are nothing." And then as soon as the game is over, they're like, "Okay, guys, like, let's, like, hang out now." And I'm like, "Why how do you do this? You just slaughtered the whole family, and now you're buddies?" Like, I think that's part of why me and games don't get along so well is because like, once I've invested, then I'd, like, leave the game with it.
Totally, man. Yeah, I hear you. Oh, yeah. It's good. It's good, man.
Yeah.
Um,
So, do you hope that your son is lenient to you if you ever play a campaign with him?
will he be mean to me?
Will he be lenient with you and your decisions, or do you think he'll be double brutal?
Oh, that's a great question. So, my son's only 11 months old. His birthday is this month. He's gonna turn 1. But I can already tell that he's got like a very kind, gentle heart. Like he'll be eating food and he'll just like put food in our mouths or like anything he has, he shares. And so I think if I had to bet, if I had to put money on it right now, I would say that he would be lenient. But I kind of, if I had to hope, I would hope that he would probably not take it easy on me. So I think that's more
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, as his personality develops and his time moves on, maybe that'll change, and that's exciting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. And so I don't know if that's like what you were hoping to talk about. It's not necessarily outdoors. I have played D&D outdoors.
Mhm.
Probably the most fun place that I've played is in the middle of a lake on a raft. Uh, like a floating raft. My two brothers and I brought out a card table and some chairs and the board games and we went out to the middle of a lake. Like we tossed an anchor and we'd pull ourselves out, tossed the anchor, pull ourselves out, and we just sat in the middle of a lake, getting roasted by the sun, drinking some beer, and playing D&D in the middle of a lake. So,
Honestly, when I told Katie I was talking to you, she goes, "What topic do you think he'll say?" I told her D&D.
oh no way, you
I
predicted it, huh?
did. Um, and I
Was
love
she
it.
was she excited about that? How did she take
Yeah.
it?
She was like, "Well, I don't get to play this weekend because in California time, so and so has, like, their kids' dance recital." Or like she was, like, kinda jealous that I was getting to log on and talk about D&D with somebody.
Oh, that's great. And
Yeah.
honestly, I feel like there are a lot of people who are just like really into D&D, and I love finding people in the community who are D&D players. Like the place that I work at is connected to a university, and I've met people who are like instructional faculty at the university who are also D&D players. And I used to work for another college. It was a private college before I came to this university, and I've met staff there and faculty there who play D&D, and it's just so funny. Like when you find, yeah, yeah, it's like this,
You have a
yeah, it's like
Mighty Marine shirt on.
it's like nerd alert. Wow, it's like there's an instantaneous bond when you find somebody who also it rolls dice, and I just think it's so fun. Which reminds me too, um, I had some buddies in undergrad, both of whom I still am very close with. We created like a religion to help guide some of our decisions in everyday life, and we called it the Church of Chance. And we would all carry around a D20. And whenever we'd have a decision where we weren't sure how to, which route to go, what decision to make, we'd take out our D20 and we'd assign all the options, the decision options to a number, and we'd roll, and we'd just let the fate of the dice make the decision for us. And it was a kind of freeing way to live, man.
That's cool.
Yeah,
You know how people are really indecisive? I myself am indecisive all the time, like, "What's for dinner tonight?" And then it's like, "Well, I don't know, what do you want?" Roll
totally.
roll roll the die.
Just roll for it. Church of Chance. It's a great place to be.
Alright, so Dungeons& and Dragons is a big part of your life. Um, Thank you for explaining to us, I mean, especially listeners who might not know exactly what it is. I know Stranger Things brought it to the forefront of a lot of people. Same with some other movies, some other things, so it's kind of got a little momentum and attention. What does it do for you when it's, Sunday night, you've got work, Monday or Tuesday? What is it that Dungeons& and Dragons brings to you that is like your recovery thing that kind of takes the weight off your shoulders and helps you out?
That's a really great question. And I feel prepared for this question because I've also been asked this question by my wife. And because she, she's, I think, similar to you, where she's just like, she's tried it a few times and she's like, that's not my thing. I don't really enjoy it, but, she's happy to celebrate that I love it, which I'm grateful for. But the response that I gave her and then I'll give you is I feel like, to me, it's the equivalent of going to the gym and doing a workout for your muscles, but it's like for my brain, So like when I'm stressed, I love to go to the gym or like just hit up my home gym in the basement and
I can
just like
tell.
exerts. Yeah. And so like that's something where it's just like, okay, I've let out some of this physical energy. Like if I go to the gym and I've escaped, like whatever stressors have been weighing me down. And I feel like D&D and, some other board games as well, but primarily D&D, I feel like it's like that mental exercise for my brain, that helps me just kind of escape. Number one, escape all my other stressors. And number two, just like scratch an itch in my brain that I don't really get to exercise anywhere else. It's like watching a movie or, acting. Like there are those creative energies. And like I used to play music, but I just don't have, since, my current schedule, I just don't have like the creative juices right now to be making music. But it's just an outlet that I feel like I don't get anywhere else. And the best way that I can describe it is just like it's like a workout for my brain. And it just like helps me connect with people. I'm an extrovert and I love making connections with other folks. So getting to do that with people that I really care about, it's always a joy. And it just gives me motivation to, like the motivation and the stamina, the constitution, to get back, on the grind and get back into work.
When you return to work, you feel that you behave differently? I mean, after being an elf all weekend for a couple hours, do you feel like when you return to work, you're kind of in your character's mode and you kinda make decisions like your character?
No, I don't act like my characters, and that's probably good. I don't know if I'd be employed right now if that was the case.
You're like, "That's funny, poison gas."
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure if I acted like my characters too, I'm sure my wife would probably. But I think the way that it does show up is, when I'm spending time with friends, I really feel like, I can let out some of that silliness and just be more prepared to be with be with my friends in a social way. Um, but yeah, I definitely have a very distinctive, like, silos. Like I'm my work self. Unless truly, honestly, Marcus, when we work together, I feel like those lines blurred
Yeah.
because I felt like I was just more goofy and got up to more shenanigans when we worked together than I do now, for sure. And I had a
Yeah.
different role then too, but um, yeah, definitely two different silos. My
Mhm. I
gaming
get that.
life, my professional life.
Some folks maybe have never played Dungeons& and Dragons before. How do you start? I mean, I know it's been since you were 7 years old, but if someone is listening to you talk about this chip and they're thinking to themselves, "This sounds awesome. I wanna try putting myself in another perspective. I wanna get silly, wanna get goofy, and try something different." Where do you begin?
I think if people who are interested in getting into role playing games want to dip their toes into the water, but they're not necessarily ready to commit to a potential like 3 hour session, which is, I feel like minimum sessions are like an hour and a half, which is a commitment. Um,
So then the game, like, pauses after an hour and a half, then you pick up where you left off. It's not like you're the 22-hour folks were like hey, we have to sit down for 22 hours. It's like, I think it's important we clarify that
Yes.
you call, you play, you put it on pause until the next time that you play, and that time accumulates.
Totally, right. Yeah, it's just like hitting the pause on a video game for sure.
Mhm.
Or like bookmarking your book and picking it back up and opening the story. Yeah, exactly. So I think if people aren't necessarily ready to commit to that full hour and a half or 3 hours, or even do like a year-long campaign, there are some really great resources. Like there are other games that are D&D adjacent where you can start to put yourself into the mind of building a world or adopting a character like an alter ego. Or you can even just do like one shot. So D&D and Pathfinder and all these other role-playing modules, like these game systems, have options for you to kind of like get into that world where they'll just have a story that you just read from. So whoever the game manager is, you don't have to like create this world on your own. You just open this book and you basically read from the book, and then there's like pre-created character sheets for people. So you don't need to like look through these player handbooks and figure out like what race do I want to be, what class do I want to be. You can have everything created for you and then just try it. Or you can play games like The Quiet Year, which is a world building game. Um, there's a board game that I just played. It's where, you hand out character cards and you just like, you don't show anybody, but you have to like role play as these people, and there are different dynamics between these people around the table. One Night Werewolf is another game where you can just like, yeah, like you just take on this identity of somebody else and you have to be that character. So there are little ways to kind of like dip your toes into the water. But I would say if you're interested in getting into D&D, go on YouTube and just look up like Critical Role or like any of these other YouTube channels where like professionals play, just to kind of get a sense of like, how does this world work? There's tons of podcasts too. I love Adventure Zone. I've actually got 3 graphic novels right here of the McElroy brothers. So it's 3 brothers and their dad who have been playing D&D together. And when they started, they had never played. So they were kind of just like figuring it out as they went, which I would totally encourage. But you can listen to podcasts, watch videos, and just kind of get a sense of how it goes, and then just do it. Like the worst thing that's going to happen is you don't mess up.
I have to say also as a non D&D player, um, Katie puts on Critical Role. We have YouTube on the TV. Critical Role goes on, or if we're taking a long drive, we listen to Critical Role, and I love it. So even
Yeah.
though I'm not really like a D&D player, Matt Mercer is so masterful on his dungeon hours, the things that he
Yeah.
does. And you really get a feel for it by listening to them talk and talk shop and play the game. And they even made some animated um, shows or movies based on their adventure, right? So you make all these
Yes.
decisions and, oh, you turn left or turn right, and they roll the dice. And after a whole campaign, they took this and they turned it into movies and shows, and they're so fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I honestly, like, sometimes when I just need to scratch that itch and I don't have people to play with, I'll go onto Spotify or I'll go onto YouTube and watch or listen to other people play, and it kind of scratches the same itch. And I I feel like I gotta just plug this again. So Griffin McElroy, he is so good. He's a great storyteller, and there's a dynamic between these brothers and their dad that I just think is so funny. Where like the brothers, like they grew up together, so they know what buttons to push to like make each other mad and to like make jokes about that person that's just like slightly personal. And they all make fun of their dad because their dad never knows what's going on. Uh, so it's just like it's a really fun podcast. The first campaign is called Here There Be Gerblins, and I've listened to it twice already, the whole season. It's just, yeah, it's great, man. So I'd encourage somebody who wants to get into it to just listen first and see if they find it entertaining, and if so, just try it. Go down to your local hobby shop, spend $5 and get a set of dice. Maybe use the PDF player's handbook. You don't even have to buy the handbook. You can find it online for free.
And I know that a lot of game shops Also, like where you would be buying the books or where you would get dice, where you would get those kinds of things. If you check out those places, oftentimes they have like a cork board that is people looking to play, or even they'll host games or help you when you're looking to scratch maybe a new itch.
Totally.
So I encourage people to check out their game stores as well, especially shopping local is awesome. And there might even be a place in your town that does this and you just don't even know.
Totally. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it's so great to support local game shops. Truly, every single game shop that I've ever gone into, the people who work there and the people that I interact with, like there's definitely a type of people that go there, but they are so nice. Every single person that I've met who works at a game shop is just like they're so welcoming. And one of the things that I still to this day don't understand is how game shops stay in business because like they'll just let you go in and just use their space and play games. Like you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to get food or anything. A lot of places will let you bring food in, and I just feel like that speaks to their um their intentionality in creating community because they're like it's not about money to us. We just want to have a space where people can come and be together and make community and just have fun and be goofy. I will say that some game shops that I've gone to and that I've seen people just like doing the pop-up D&D games, there are some folks who are pretty intense. So if anybody's intimidated by intensity, maybe just try it with a friend or two first before you go there. Because some game shops can be a little intense in terms of like the games that people are playing.
Sure. And if somebody's in a campaign that's 7 years long, it might not be the best thing to say, I want to play with you. Let me play the game with you. Right.
For sure. Totally.
Maybe a more gentle approach to some folks when you feel the time is right. Like, hey, I'm looking to try out playing. I've never played before. Where do you think I can look? And even the game stores might say, oh, actually Tuesday nights is when we have newbie night. So bring your dice. Here's some more dice if you need to bring more. And we just randomly match people up or whatever it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you that the gaming community, the game stores, D&D folks in general, I hate to make generalizations about people, but folks at D&D, uh, I have found have been very, very nice. Now, you wanna protect your own campaign, right? So, like the
For
one you're
sure.
playing, if somebody was trying to force themselves in, of course, you're gonna be protective of that. But I would say that majority of the time I've talked to gamers, they're happy to have sharing experiences and help people get started.
Totally. Absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm still just impressed that you knew that I was going to talk about D&D.
Really? Were you really though, or did you know?
I mean, well, I guess a little bit. I guess maybe I had a hunch.
Well, Chip, I really appreciate you stepping out of your comfort zone and joining me for a podcast here. We'll probably hear more from Chip later in the future. So, Chip, thanks for taking us down memory lane a little bit. It's been kind of a fun time reminiscing about grad school and when we were goofing around together. I like to hear about the different angles of your careers and what formed you into the person you are today. And it's been a blast having you on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Mark. This is great. I'm happy for you that this is something you're getting into. I'm grateful to have been a part of it. And thanks so much for having me. And let's not wait so long between calls this time.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you for tuning in to the Paid Time Outdoor Podcast. I'm Marcus here with Chip. We're out.